In the rich tapestry of Islamic tradition, few stories carry as much weight and significance as that of Qabil and Habil, known in other traditions as Cain and Abel. This tale, deeply rooted in the early days of humanity, serves as a powerful reminder of the eternal struggle between good and evil, jealousy and acceptance, and the consequences of our choices. The story of Qabil and Habil is not merely a historical account, but a profound moral lesson that continues to resonate with believers and non-believers alike. It addresses fundamental aspects of human nature: sibling rivalry, envy, the importance of sincerity in our actions, and the gravity of taking a life. To understand this story, we must first journey back to the very beginnings of humanity. After Adam and Hawa, peace be upon them, were sent to earth, they began to populate the world with their children. Among these children were two sons, Qabil and Habil. Qabil, the elder brother, became a farmer, cultivating the land. Habil, the younger, chose the path of a shepherd, tending to his flocks with care. Their story unfolds against this backdrop of the first human family, teaching us lessons that remain relevant to this day. As we delve into their tale, remember that this is not just a story of two brothers from the distant past. It is a mirror to our own hearts, a cautionary tale about the choices we face, and a reminder of the enduring power of faith, sincerity, and righteousness. As Adam and Hawa began their life on earth, they were blessed with many children. Among these were two sons who would play a pivotal role in human history, Qabil and Habil. Qabil, the firstborn, came into the world as the eldest son of humanity's first parents. As he grew, it became clear that he possessed a strong will and a keen intelligence. Habil, born later, was known for his gentle nature and compassionate heart. In Adam's growing family, Qabil and Habil held a special place. They were among the first of Adam's children, and as such they carried the weight of being examples for their younger siblings. Their father, Adam, placed great hope in them as the future of humanity. As the brothers matured, they chose different paths in life. Qabil, with his practical mind and strong connection to the earth, became a farmer. He toiled in the fields, cultivating crops and reaping harvests. His hands became calloused from his labor, and he took pride in the fruits of his work. Habil, on the other hand, felt a calling to care for animals. He became a shepherd, tending to his flocks with gentleness and patience. His days were spent in the open fields, guiding and protecting his sheep. These occupations reflected their personalities. Qabil, the farmer, was often serious and focused, his mind on the practical matters of growing food and managing the land. He was known for his determination and sometimes his stubbornness. Habil, the shepherd, was more contemplative. His time spent watching over his flock gave him ample opportunity for reflection and prayer. He was known for his kindness and his willingness to help others. Despite their differences, or perhaps because of them, Qabil and Habil complemented each other in many ways. They represented two essential aspects of early human society: agriculture and animal husbandry. Little did they know that their differing paths would set the stage for a test that would echo through the ages. As Qabil and Habil grew into young men, the time came for them to take wives and start families of their own. This seemingly simple matter would become the catalyst for a series of events that would change the course of human history. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, sent a command to Adam regarding the marriages of his children. This divine instruction was clear and purposeful, designed to ensure the continuation of the human race while maintaining harmony and justice among Adam's offspring. Adam, my sons, Allah has decreed that it is time for you to marry, but there is a specific way this must be done. Adam explained to his sons that Allah had commanded that each son should marry a twin sister born in a different pregnancy. This meant that Qabil was to marry Habil's twin sister, while Habil was to marry Qabil's twin sister. This arrangement was not arbitrary. It was designed to prevent jealousy and to ensure that the beauty or qualities of one's own twin would not be a factor in the selection of a spouse. It was a system meant to promote fairness and to strengthen the bonds between different branches of the growing human family. Qabil, you are to marry Habil's twin sister, and Habil, you will marry Qabil's twin sister. This is the command of Allah. Habil, known for his gentle and accepting nature, received this news with grace and submission to Allah's will. He understood the wisdom behind the command and was prepared to follow it without question. Qabil, however, had a very different reaction. His face darkened with displeasure as he processed his father's words. Qabil, but father, why should I marry Habil's sister when my own twin is more beautiful? It a troubling lack of acceptance of Allah's command. He saw his own twin sister as superior in beauty and believed he deserved to marry her instead of Habil's twin. Adam, my son, this is not a matter of personal preference. It is the decree of Allah, and we must obey. But Qabil's heart had already been touched by envy. He couldn't accept that his younger brother would marry the sister he deemed more desirable. This jealousy began to fester, marking the beginning of a rift between the brothers. As days passed, Qabil's disagreement with the proposed marriages grew stronger. He became increasingly resentful towards Habil, even though his brother had done nothing wrong. Qabil's jealousy clouded his judgment, causing him to question the fairness of Allah's command and to harbor ill feelings towards his own brother. This disagreement over marriages set the stage for a greater test that was yet to come. It revealed the stark difference in the brothers' characters. Habil's submission to Allah's will versus Qabil's rebellion against it. Little did they know that this was just the beginning of a story that would serve as a powerful lesson for all of humanity. As tension simmered between the brothers over the matter of marriage, Allah, in His infinite wisdom, presented them with a test of faith, sincerity, and obedience. Adam, my sons, Allah has commanded that each of you make an offering, a sacrifice to Him. The one whose sacrifice is accepted will have the right to marry as he wishes. This divine command was not merely about resolving the marriage dispute. It was a profound test of character, of the brothers' devotion to Allah, and of the sincerity in their hearts. Qabil, the farmer, looked out over his abundant crops. His lands were fertile, yielding a variety of grains and fruits. As he contemplated his offering, a struggle played out in his mind. Qabil, thinking, surely any offering would suffice. Why should I give up my best crops? In the end, Qabil's attachment to his wealth overcame him. He selected produce for his offering, but not his best. He chose grains that were past their prime and fruits that were bruised or overripe. Meanwhile, Habil, the shepherd, approached the task with a different mindset. He gazed upon his flock, his heart full of gratitude to Allah for His blessings. Habil, thinking, Allah has given me so much. How can I offer anything but my best in return? Without hesitation, Habil selected the finest, healthiest sheep from his flock. It was an animal he had cared for meticulously, one that would have fetched a high price at market. But for Habil, no price was too high when it came to showing his devotion to Allah. The day of the sacrifice arrived. The brothers made their way to the designated spot, each carrying his offering. They placed their sacrifices side by side, then stepped back and waited. The contrast between the offerings was clear. On one side lay Qabil's pile of mediocre produce. On the other, Habil's prime sheep stood out, a testament to his sincerity and devotion. Suddenly, a fire descended from the sky. This was no ordinary fire, but a divine flame, sent by Allah to signify His acceptance. The heavenly fire enveloped Habil's sacrifice, consuming it completely. The air filled with the pleasant aroma of the accepted offering. Qabil's sacrifice, however, remained untouched, a clear sign of its rejection. Habil's face shone with humble gratitude. He understood that Allah's acceptance was not due to his own merit, but a blessing born of sincerity and obedience. Habil, all praise and thanks are due to Allah, who has accepted my offering. Qabil, on the other hand, was consumed by a storm of emotions. Anger, jealousy, and resentment surged within him. The rejection of his sacrifice was a public humiliation, a clear divine judgment that favored his brother over him. Qabil, bitterly, this is not fair. How could your sacrifice be accepted and not mine? Adam, witnessing this, approached his sons. His face was etched with concern as he saw the stark difference in their reactions. Adam, my sons, Allah does not look at the quantity of the sacrifice, but at the sincerity of the heart that offers it. These words, though wise, fell on deaf ears as far as Qabil was concerned. The seeds of jealousy, already planted in his heart, now began to sprout into something far more dangerous. The test of sacrifice had revealed the true nature of both brothers, Habil's piety and Qabil's insincerity. But more than that, it had set the stage for a tragic event, that would mark humanity forever. The acceptance of Habil's sacrifice and the rejection of Qabil's marked a turning point in their relationship. What had been simmering jealousy now boiled over into open hostility. Qabil's mind raced, consumed by dark thoughts. The perceived injustice of the situation gnawed at him, distorting his perception and clouding his judgment. How could this happen? I'm the older brother. I should be favored. It's not fair. He replayed the scene of the sacrifice in his mind over and over. Each time his anger grew. He couldn't accept that his offering had been rejected while his younger brothers had been accepted. The jealousy that had taken root in his heart now grew like a poisonous vine, choking out reason and compassion. In Qabil's mind, Habil had become the source of all his problems. Unable to contain his rage any longer, Qabil confronted his brother. His eyes blazed with fury as he faced Habil. This is all your fault. You've always been the favored one. Father loves you more, and now even Allah has chosen you over me. Habil, taken aback by his brother's outburst, remained calm. His voice was steady as he responded. Brother, why are you so angry? Allah's acceptance or rejection is not based on favoritism, but on the sincerity of our hearts. Don't preach to me. You think you're so righteous. I'll show you where your righteousness gets you. Then, in a moment that would echo through history, Qabil uttered words that crossed a line from which there was no easy return. Qabil, I will kill you, brother. That will end this favoritism once and for all. The threat hung in the air, heavy and terrible. Habil, hearing these words from his own brother, felt a deep sadness. Yet even in the face of this mortal threat, he did not respond with anger or fear. Brother, if you raise your hand against me to kill me, I will not raise mine to kill you. I fear Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Habil's response was not one of weakness, but of profound strength. His words, recorded in the Quran, reflect a deep faith and moral courage. Habil, if you do kill me, you will bear the burden of my sin, and you will be among the dwellers of the fire. That is the recompense of the wrongdoers. Qabil was taken aback by his brother's response. He had expected fear, perhaps pleading, but not this calm acceptance and wise counsel. For a moment, uncertainty flickered in his eyes, but the seed of jealousy had grown too strong. Despite Habil's peaceful words, the darkness in Qabil's heart continued to grow. The stage was set for a tragic act that would forever change the course of human history. The confrontation between Qabil and Habil had ended, but the dark thoughts in Qabil's mind continued to swirl. Despite Habil's peaceful words, jealousy and anger had taken too firm a hold on Qabil's heart. As days passed, Qabil's resentment grew. The memory of his rejected sacrifice and his brother's acceptance tormented him. In quiet moments, he heard again his own threat, I will kill you. What had begun as angry words now became a terrible plan. For a time, Qabil wrestled with his conscience, but each passing day the voice of jealousy grew louder, drowning out reason and brotherly love. Qabil, I must do it. It's the only way to end this torment. One day, Qabil approached his brother in the fields. Habil, ever trusting, welcomed him with a smile, unaware of the darkness that had consumed Qabil's heart. Habil, brother, it's good to see you. How are you today? In a moment of brutal violence, Qabil struck. The details of the act are not important. What matters is that in that moment, the first murder in human history was committed. A brother slew his brother. As quickly as it had happened, it was over. Qabil stood over his brother's lifeless body, the full weight of what he had done crashing down upon him. What have I done? In the aftermath of his terrible act, Qabil was overcome with confusion and fear. He had taken a life, something unprecedented in human history. He had no frame of reference for what to do next. Habil, brother, get up, please, get up. But Habil did not stir. The finality of death, a concept new to humanity, began to dawn on Qabil. He had extinguished a life, and there was no undoing it. Qabil's mind raced. What would he tell his parents? How could he hide what he had done? The enormity of his crime began to sink in, and with it came a crushing sense of guilt and regret. Qabil, what do I do now? How do I fix this? But there was no fixing what had been done. In his jealousy and anger, Qabil had committed an act that would change the course of human history. He had brought death into the world through murder, violating the sanctity of human life and the bonds of brotherhood. As Qabil stood there, alone with the consequences of his actions, he was about to learn another harsh lesson. For in the wake of this first murder, Allah would intervene, showing humanity how to deal with death and teaching a lesson that would echo through the ages. In the wake of the first murder, Qabil stood paralyzed by the enormity of his deed. But even in this darkest of moments, Allah's mercy and wisdom would manifest, providing guidance not just for Qabil, but for all of humanity. "Qabil, what have I done? What do I do now?" As if in answer to Qabil's desperate questions, a crow appeared. This was no ordinary bird, but a messenger sent by Allah to teach a crucial lesson. The crow began to scratch at the earth with its beak and claws, digging a shallow hole in the ground. Qabil watched, his brow furrowed in confusion. What is this bird doing? Then, to Qabil's astonishment, a second crow appeared. The first crow attacked it, and to all appearances killed it. What happened next would provide Qabil with the answer he so desperately needed. The first crow gently placed its fallen companion into the hole it had dug. Then, using its beak and claws, it pushed the earth back over the body, burying it. Voice filled with realization, "Oh, is this what I'm supposed to do? Bury my brother's body?" In this moment, Allah's wisdom became clear. Through the simple actions of a crow, He had taught Qabil, and by extension all of humanity, how to properly lay the dead to rest. With trembling hands, Qabil began to dig. The task was hard, both physically and emotionally. Each handful of earth he removed was an acknowledgement of the finality of his actions. As he laid his brother's body in the earth, the full weight of his crime crashed down upon him. Tears streamed down his face as he covered Habil with soil. "Oh, woe to me! Am I not even able to be as this crow and hide the dead body of my brother?" With the burial complete, Qabil was left alone with his thoughts and the consequences of his actions. The remorse he felt was overwhelming. "Qabil, what have I done? I've not only taken my brother's life, but I've also ruined my own. How can I ever face my parents? How can I ever face Allah?" In this moment of deep regret, Qabil realized the true value of what he had destroyed. He understood too late the wisdom in Habil's words about fearing Allah and the consequences of wrongdoing. "Qabil, O Allah, I have wronged myself and my brother. Is there any way back from this?" Qabil's remorse was genuine, but it could not undo what had been done. His actions had brought death into the world through murder, forever changing the course of human history. Yet even in this tragic moment, Allah's mercy was evident. By sending the crow, He had provided guidance and a means to move forward. The story of Qabil and Habil, while tragic, serves as a powerful lesson. It teaches us about the sanctity of human life, the dangers of jealousy and anger, and the importance of seeking guidance from Allah in all matters. The story of Qabil and Habil doesn't end with the burial. The consequences of the first murder would ripple through time, affecting not just Qabil, but all of humanity. Qabil's punishment for his grievous act was severe. As recorded in Islamic tradition, Allah placed a curse upon him. The curse manifested in various ways. Qabil was destined to live a life of fear and restlessness. The earth, which had received his brother's blood, would no longer yield its full bounty to him. He who had been a successful farmer would now struggle to cultivate the land. But perhaps the heaviest burden was the weight of his conscience. Qabil would carry the guilt of his actions for the rest of his days, a constant reminder of the sanctity of human life and the grave consequences of violating it. The impact of this first murder extended far beyond Qabil. It marked a turning point in human history. The sanctity of human life, once an unquestioned truth, had been violated. Murder had entered the world, and with it came fear, suspicion, and the need for laws to protect life. The harmonious existence that Allah had intended for humanity was fractured. The story of Qabil and Habil became a cautionary tale, passed down through generations, reminding people of the dangers of jealousy, anger, and violence. But from this tragic tale, humanity also gained valuable moral lessons. Let us reflect on some of these teachings. First, we learn about the destructive power of jealousy. Qabil's envy of his brother's success poisoned his heart and led him down a dark path. This teaches us to guard against jealousy in our own lives and to celebrate the successes of others. Second, The story emphasizes the importance of sincerity in our actions and intentions. Habil's sacrifice was accepted because it was offered with a pure heart, reminding us that in all our deeds, it is the intention that matters most to Allah. Third, we learn the vital lesson of anger management. Qabil's inability to control his anger had disastrous consequences. This underscores the importance of patience and self-control in the face of frustration or perceived injustice. Fourth highlights sanctity of human life in Islam. Every human life is precious, and taking an innocent life is considered one of the gravest sins. This teaches us to value and protect all human life, regardless of our differences. Lastly, we learn about the power of remorse and the ever-present possibility of seeking Allah's forgiveness. Even after committing such a terrible act, Qabil felt remorse. While this couldn't undo his crime, it serves as a reminder that the door to repentance is always open, no matter the magnitude of our sins. The story of Qabil and Habil, while tragic, serves as a powerful moral compass. It reminds us of our responsibility to resist our baser instincts, to treat each other with kindness and respect, and to always be conscious of Allah in our actions. Through this narrative, we are called to create a world of peace, justice, and brotherhood, the world that Allah intended for us. As we come to the end of the story of Qabil and Habil, let's reflect on the key messages this ancient tale imparts to us today. We've witnessed the devastating consequences of jealousy and uncontrolled anger, the importance of sincerity in our actions, and the sanctity of human life. We've seen how a single act born of envy can have far-reaching consequences, not just for the individual, but for all of humanity. Though this story dates back to the dawn of humanity, its lessons remain profoundly relevant in our modern world. In an era of conflict, division, and moral uncertainty, the tale of Qabil and Habil reminds us of our shared humanity and our responsibility to one another. It calls us to reject jealousy, to control our anger, to act with sincerity, and above all, to value and protect human life. It teaches us that every action has consequences, and that we must strive to make those consequences positive ones. As we face the challenges of our time, let us carry with us the wisdom of this ancient story. May it guide us towards creating a world of justice, compassion, and peace, the world that Allah intends for us all.